Hi and welcome to a new panel in this Forbes 2022 Sustainability Forum. I'm Andres Montenegro Vergara, head of special editions at Ford Colombia. And when we talk about mobility and the discussions about be a more sustainable world and what are companies doing to be in a greener world, without a doubt, the mobility and the way that we move are part of the conversation and key role in what we're doing in the future. So today, talk about this important topic, I have the pleasure to be here with Mr. Dino Tanaka, who is the president of Automotores Toyota Colombia. Dino, welcome and thank you very much for being with us today.
Good afternoon, Andres. I'm very happy to be here.
Dino, the first question that I have that maybe is crucial when we talk about mobility and sustainable mobility with Toyota is, what is the meaning of sustainable mobility for the company? What is the meaning of that?
Yes, I have to say that today's mobility is not sustainable because it creates traffic jam problems, safety problems, and environmental problems. So in order to minimize those negative factors, we have to evolve and to become a sustainable mobility companies. I envision reaching the goal with the three main pillars. The first pillar is a new technology. Today's mobility is heavily dependent on traditional gasoline or diesel drivetrains, but by bringing new technologies such as hybrid, plug-in hybrid, a fuel cell, and battery EVs, and those technologies can maintain the mobility accessibility as well as the better environment. And also, when I talk about the new technology, it's not only about the drivetrain. We are now trying to standardize many safety features for our product portfolio to minimize the fatal accident in this country. So those are the first pillar, new technology. Second pillar is Kinto. Kinto is a new business platform which has been already deployed in Japan, Europe, US, and many South American countries. And in fact, in Colombia, we also have started our pilot program of Kinto this year. And what does Kinto do? Kinto is a business platform to provide a car sharing or car leasing experience or ride sharing or connecting service, which connects the private use of the car and public transportation. So to me, this is a big transition from ownership to usership. The convenience of the mobility and good impact to environment can coexist without or with less financial burden of owning a car. By the way, the term Kinto is coming from the ancient Chinese story, which is a magic cloud which moves a person from point A to point B with lightning speed. And Global Toyota has been inspired by that concept, and so we named this project as Kinto. And now the third pillar is ESG. And let me focus on socials and governance part. Toyota always want to become a good corporate citizen. And also, as a company who always has an impact to our environment, we have been organizing some activities such as Plaza Toyota, which is beach cleaning activities, or Bosque Toyota, which is a tree planting activities in Antioquia in Cundinamarca. And we have already planted more than 11,000 of trees in this country. And when I talk about ESG activities, it's not only about that. We have been offering prosthetic legs for disabled people or doggy wheelchair. For me and for us, this is another way to provide the mobility service. Mobility should be provided for the people or for the animals who does not have a voice. So again, new technology, Kinto, and ESG activities, those will get us to become better sustainable mobility companies.
Well, that is a very interesting way to approach the problem, not limited to just one single field, but actually being in mobility as a whole. I think that's very interesting. But when we talk about the discussion in vehicles, the discussion about the energy sources of, or maybe electricity over fossil fuels, are one of the biggest issues that we talk in the recent years, but it's still a very limited part of the share of the market. So even the hybrids are in the discussion right now. We don't talk about how much it is important for countries like Colombia. So the next question that I have is, why do you think that the hybrids are the best option for Colombia as a country and as a market?
Okay, that's a very good question. As I said earlier, still we are heavily dependent on gasoline and diesel technologies. But this is still very useful technology for many people on this planet. At the same time, it seems to be that everybody is talking about battery EV as an ultimate solution for environmental issues. But the reality is that in Colombia, even in Bogota, there are not sufficient amount of charging stations. Our responsibility is to provide the mobility service for all the people. So I am very much afraid of the situation that people becomes out of the battery in the middle of nowhere, or sometimes people still have to line up for 2 hours or 3 hours to get the electricity from the charging stations. So I think the best drivetrain should be depend on the people's preference or usage or infrastructure and many other things. And I think in Colombia, hybrid is the best practical option because it does not require additional investment and it does not have any range anxiety. And probably this is the best transition from traditional drivetrain to futuristic battery EVs or fuel cell new technologies. So I think this hybrid technology can provide the best balance of many factors in Colombia today.
Keeping it that line and talking about the initiatives that Toyota are involved into, the next question that I want to talk about is that beyond the assembly of electric cars, what other fields are Toyota aiming for? For example, to name a few, battery production, the hydrogen as a new energy source, decarbonize the plants and stores, among others that you're up to right now in this moment.
Well, recently, Global Toyota has announced a new more than $5 billion of investment to a battery plant in US and Japan. But beyond that, I would like to touch on or introduce the new great project called the Woven City, in Espanol, La Ciudad Tejida. And this is the brand new city constructed from the scratch at the bottom of Mount Fuji. And the purpose of that is to create the perfect harmonious environment for people, cars, and road, supported by artificial intelligence or autonomous technologies, to create zero CO2 emission society or zero accident society. I think this represents the global Toyota philosophy, what kind of future we envision. And after all the activities we do in Colombia or any part of the world is associated with our desire to become a sustainable mobility company.
You just talk about something that I think that is crucial, that is the ESG, that I think that is something that all the companies are not simply talking about, but doing something very huge in their organizations, to ESG. So I really want to talk about with you about what are those environmental and social responsibility programs that you're having right now in Colombia and their impact in not just the industry, but the country as a whole.
Well, other than the things I already stated, such as Plaza Toyota or Bosque Toyota, maybe I have three distinctive projects we are working on. The first one is a sponsorship for the female volleyball team for Colombia. And actually, the team is going to participate the World Cup championship for the first time in Colombian history. The championship will start this month. But the reason we are sponsoring the team is that we are believing in the power of sports and also power of women. And I hope that this sponsorship or this team is going to be inspiring for all Colombian people with the power of sports and female. Second activity is Waju community support. We have donated 5 solar panels for the people, Waju people, to help support their traditional craft activities as well as supporting their environmental issues. And the last thing is, this is a very interesting project, but Dream Car Contest. This is the event where we invite kids to think of their dream car and submit a drawing. You know, we have been inspired so much with their out-of-the-box ideas, and we are so excited to think of the future with the children. So I think these little things add up for us to think of the better future together with all the stakeholders.
Certainly, those are really game-changing initiatives that you're going to right now in Colombia. And Toyota is, without a doubt, one of the biggest companies in the world in the automotive industry. And I really want to talk another subject that is key when we talk about sustainability is what are the main changes or obstacles that Toyota faces in our country just to be in the road to be in a more sustainable world. For example, poor legislation or import taxes, no initiatives for the automotive industry, or even a difficult market in talking about sustainable or more sustainable vehicles.
Well, probably the most imminent obstacle or challenge is the supply restriction. There are thousands of customers waiting for the delivery of our vehicle. I know that, in a way, this is a global supply chain issue, but I also want to think that for every single customer, it matters when they get delivered, regardless of the global supply chain issue. This is really the personal matter when they are able to experience Toyota car. So I really want to apologize for the customer waiting for our vehicle for many, many months. And and we are totally committed to improve the situation as quickly as possible. Probably the second biggest challenge is the quota. Our import of hybrid vehicles or trucks or SUVs coming from our plant in Brazil and Argentina are severely restricted by the quota. And I think this is, we are very fortunate to have strong demand towards our models, but because of some trade restrictions, the situation is becoming even severer. So I think, I'm not saying this for the sake of Toyota business. I'm saying this for Colombian people. Colombian people deserve to be able to access to the newer technologies with reasonable cost for good quality. And I think not only for Toyota, but we as an industry should be able to provide as many options as possible, as many products as possible, so that we are going to keep working on other stakeholders to improve the situation, to overcome this situation.
Well, we're getting to the end of the panel, and I want to talk about the UN objectives aiming 2030 that are crucial in the discussions in the companies about what they're doing for a more sustainable world in the future. So the question for you is, what is making Toyota for the sustainable development goals right now as a company?
Well, Global Toyota has a great meta, which is called the Tech 2050, or Toyota Environmental Challenge 2050 in Espanol, meta medioambiental Toyota 2050, which is, in summary, to try to zero-nize the CO2 emission and also to maximize the positive impact to our environment by recycling waters, batteries, or scrapped cars. And also, another pillar is to protect the wild animals or to educate people. So those things are, the essence of those activities are summarized to the term Tech 2050. Of course, that philosophy and how to apply that philosophy to each country or each continent varies by each destination. But the essence of Tech 2050 is that as a global Toyota, wherever you are, whoever you sell the car, we have to improve our environment and society because Toyota's mission is to provide the greatest happiness to our customers with the high cutting-edge technologies. This is the reason why we call ourselves as a mobility company and mobility for all. That is our philosophy. So I think that by challenging Tech 2050, we will be able to achieve our mission to sustainable mobility company.
Without a doubt, that's a huge gambling for the future, like the way that you think that you're gonna do it, and certainly you're gonna change the way that we move, and the sustainable mobility world gonna be very, very better with this kind of initiatives. So we just talk about everything that you're doing right now as the president, everything that you're doing in the country as a company. But for the end of this conversation, I just want to know, what is the Toyota's vision for the mobility in Colombia in the medium and long term? Where are you heading, or what are your expectations in the country right now?
Well, my personal view is that Colombia has the biggest potential to become or to create sustainable mobility society. The one example is that the percentage of hybrid sales in the auto industry is the highest in Colombia than any other South American countries. So I think that Colombians are very conscious to the environment and have a passion to improve our society. So, as I said earlier, we still have a lot of challenges, obstacles, such as infrastructure. We need to discuss the domestic regulations, and we need to discuss trade restrictions. But I hope that, with our stakeholders, we will be able to get closer to the perfect sustainable mobility society.
Dino, before we go, do you have any last thoughts that you want to share with our audience today?
Yes, I just want to quickly introduce our newest project, which is Mirai. Mirai is a Japanese, but in Espanol, El Futuro. This is a world first commercialized hydrogen model. And we are going to deliver the very first Mirai in Colombia to the greatest company in Colombia, Ecopetrol, this year, through Quinto program. So I just want Colombianos to experience the new technology and think about what we can do together and how we can evolve together. So I really hope that this new product and new project is going to be the great kickoff to think about the great future together with all Colombian people and Toyota and all auto industry.
I'm pretty sure that the viewers right now have absolute certain that it's going to be a way challenging future for a society and for the companies like Toyota, for everything that you're doing for the sustainable of the world. Unfortunately, this is how we come to an end to this panel of the Forbes 2022 Sustainable Forum. Thank you very much again, Mr. Dino Tanaka, President of Automotores Toyota Colombia, and thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you, Andres. Muchas gracias.
And we invite to stay connected in the rest of the panels of this forum and to relive the other panels in YouTube where you find us as Forbes.co. See you next time.